The left has lost the art of persuasion, but not only have we lost it, we've decided that it isn't important, and that's the wrong approach. Instead of persuading people that our positions are the correct ones, people on the left have pivoted to this idea that if you don't already agree with me, you're a bad person and you're not even worth persuading. A good example of this would be like trans issues. Trans women in sports is a 70-30 issue in America. More than 70% of people do not think that trans women should compete against cis women in sports. Please keep in mind I'm just using this issue as an example. A lot of people on the left, instead of making the argument for why trans women should be allowed to compete in sports, they will just call you a transphobe if you don't agree. Many of them will just put you in a category of like a bad person or a bigot, not even bother making the argument or like trying to persuade the person on the issue. And the result of that is bad. That approach is not going to change that person's mind. It's just going to make them fearful to express any disagreement on that issue. And this creates the illusion that the left is winning battles that we are actually losing. If 70% of people think that trans women should not compete in sports, but they are scared to say so for fear of being called a transphobe, we will think that we have won the argument because we will have stopped hearing from people who disagree with us. So it creates a mirage of progressive opinion that doesn't exist. And this is the case for a lot of progressive issues because we have resorted to these shaming tactics in lieu of persuasion. They still disagree with us because we haven't made the argument. We've only shouted them down. There are a lot of people who think that trans people should be able to exist peacefully, but they disagree on the sports issue because it's not making sense to them. And I think calling those people transphobes is the opposite of helpful. For the record, I think that trans people should be able to compete in sports, especially at younger ages, because I think that sports is about community. I think it's about bringing people together, and I think it teaches work ethic to kids. And I don't think trans kids should be excluded from that, even if they're like taller than the cis girls. And maybe as they get older, there should be some restrictions that we let the sports organizations sort out based on what they know. But in the meantime, we can make the argument. I think there is a very sober, level-headed argument to be made on all of these issues, and we should be making it. But abandoning the art of persuasion in favor of calling people bigots when they disagree is the wrong approach. Attacking people and labeling them as evil will never be persuasive. And you might be thinking, well, I don't want to persuade them because I do think they're evil. And I would just say then enjoy the world that will create. Because going back to the trans women in sports issue, 70% of the country disagrees with us. So if you refuse to give people the benefit of the doubt and you refuse to persuade them, we will lose on this issue and we will fall flat on our faces. Persuasion is necessary for progressive movements and you do not get to opt out of it. Obviously, there are bigots in this world who are not worth engaging with, but most people aren't that. If somebody has a few moderate opinions on some 70-30 issues, but they're progressive in most other ways, we need to let them in. Like if we ever want to win an election again.